Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with another ridiculous video of another knife. However, this knife is very, very special. In fact, the next three knives that I'm going to show you are what I call experimental knives or Holy Grail projects. That's what I like to call them, Holy Grail projects. And this is one of three what I call Holy Grail projects. And I'm changing things up. As you guys know, me being a Kershaw collector, I only collect knives that come in the gray or silver box with the American flag on it, right? Like the Kershaw bump, blue bump. I actually think I've done a video on this. If I haven't, I'll be doing it soon. But yeah, I'm really into the knives with the American flag on it. However, for this particular piece, I had to make an exception. I had no choice because it doesn't come in the gray box. It comes in the more familiar red. However, the reason I made, the reason that I decided to go ahead and change over, because who cares about the box, just the box, right? The whole thing is about the knife. The reason I did that is because this is one of the Halo projects, or the one of the Holy Grail knives that I was talking about. And the knife we're talking about tonight, check it out, guys. The Kershaw Tilt. You've seen videos on this knife. It's absolutely insane. I don't know. I really don't know. I was so surprised when I got this piece. I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. Let's get that out of the way. Here it is, guys. Kershaw Tilt. Check it out. Now, this knife came out, I think 2010. Yeah, the knife came out in 2010. It was the way I look at this knife, it's kind of like a look into the future. This is a historic piece. This is one of the first ball bearing KBT system knives, and it's definitely one of the most smoothest knives you'll ever hold. So let's go ahead and just get a good quick shot at it before I pull out the specs. Get rid of that. So there it is, Kershaw Tilt 3D. I'll talk about it in a minute. These knives were very limited in production. I believe they only produced 300 of them. As far as I understand it, there was supposed to be 1,000. It never happened. I can't remember how many, but this knife comes in two versions. It also comes in the black wash, or not black wash, excuse me, the black DLC coating version. Really spectacular piece. Before I get into the knife, let's go ahead and do the specs on it real quickly. So the overall length of this knife is 9.5 inches. The blade is 4 inches. The blade material, this is a composite blade. If you guys take a good close look at that, there's that little circular with what looks like a paper airplane inside of it. That stands for composite. The top steel is a steel that all of us know, 14C, 28N, and the bottom part is more exotic to many of us. It would be Vanex 75. And Vanex 75, the most dominant element in Vanex 75 is nitrogen. Why? I don't know. I'm not a metal expert, so you might want to look up as to why nitrogen is so important to that steel. The blade grind is a flat blade grind. The finish is stonewash on mine, including the frames, also stonewash, I guess. The edge type is plain. The handle length is 5.5 inches. The handle material is, the back side of it is titanium, and the front part of it is carbon fiber. The weight of this knife is 4.8 inches. It is a manual KBT system, the very first ball-bearing KBT system knife ever made by Kershaw. And the model of the knife is called the Tilt. The model number is 4001 SW, and it is made in the good old US of A. So let's take a look at this knife. This is not a knife that many of us... I mean, this doesn't even resemble any knife that any of us own, really. Number one, makes it stand out. The piece has a lot of angular surfaces to it. Looks like a boomerang almost with that elbow in there. I call it an elbow. But make no mistake, the ergonomics on this are incredible. It feels really great. This does not bother your hand. In fact, it's very comforting to have that there. Also, the pocket clip does not dig into your finger. In fact, you don't even feel that it's there. The knife has 1, 2, 3, 4 standoffs, including the lanyard ring there. So there you go, the standoffs. The back part of the knife is very interesting. As you notice, it's kind of got that, I guess they're going to say it's a 45-degree angle there, and the frame lock is cut that way to prevent you from pushing the knife out that far. You just can't do it. It's not possible. So basically what it does is it actually removes the need for a lock bar stabilizer, like on this knife. It's got the Rick Hinderer lock bar stabilizer. Because the knife is cut at that angle, you don't need a lock bar stabilizer. So, as far as flipping it, it flips out real quick. However, I will have to say this: if you get a hold of one of these, your hand is going to have to learn how to hold it and to find that sweet spot to flip it. Only because the knife is so huge, and my hand is real small, and I have a tendency to hold my knives like this, thinking that you can flip it. But what you want to do, obviously, like most knives, you don't want to cover that frame lock because you'll have a hard time flipping it. So you got to try and keep your hand away from that. That is so difficult to do with the way that the knife is shaped. But your hand does get used to doing it. So there you go. As far as holding a knife, there's like 3 positions. I mean, you can hold it back here because the handle is so big, right? You can hold it like that more naturally. You can even choke up way up here if you need to. So it's a big knife. It really is. The handle is larger than the blade itself. Just so you can get an idea how big this knife is, let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Here it is against the Sebenza 25, and the Sebenza 25, as you guys know, that's a big knife. All right, and as you can see, the Tilt 4001 tower is over it. I mean, the handle is just gigantic. Let's go ahead and put it up against the ZT 0900, the small knife. I mean, actually, if you were to take, look at this. The ZT 0900 is practically the entire handle. I mean, that is huge. Absolutely huge. So there you go. Zerotron CT 900. One of my favorites, the Spyderco Swish Bowie, also another smooth knife. Nowhere near as smooth as this one, as you're going to see in a minute. But yeah, again, this is a medium-sized knife, and this guy's just gigantic right next to it. And how about the Sebenza 21? I got to get more knives that you guys are more familiar with. Maybe I'll pull out the leak and the blur next time. So there you go, Sebenza 21. How about finally up against well, in this case, a $50 bill. How about that? There you go. So it's a big knife, really huge knife. As I said before, this is the first knife to feature the KBT ball bearing system as opposed to the IKBS or Icoma Korth ball bearing system, which was the ball bearing system that came first in the Icoma Korth ball bearing system. If I'm not mistaken, the ball bearings actually sit in a trench. I'm going to call it a trench, circular trench inside the pivot where they fill it up with the ball bearings and the lubricant. That's how you get that smooth feel. With IKBS, it is a completely different story. The ball bearings are housed in a casing. I'm going to say plastic casing, but they're housed in a casing of about I'm going to say like 8 to 12 ball bearings, depending on the knife, depending on the size of the knife. And that pretty much allows the ball bearings to rotate in what I would call a setting. In other words, it's kind of like a ballpoint pen. The knives are, the ball bearings are spinning around inside of like a ballpoint pen type of a structure, if you want to think of it that way. If you could picture that in your mind. The action on this knife, guys, since I'm doing that and I can't stop doing it, the action on this knife is absolutely ridiculous. When you flip it, it flips out so quickly. This thing, like I said, your hand has to find where to flip it. I'm having difficulty still. There you go. It flips out real quick. Your hand will eventually learn how to do it. I'm just a little bit shaky because, I don't know, maybe I'm nervous talking in front of you guys, but yeah, see, there it is. I'm having difficulty. There you go. So your hand has to stay away from that lock bar. You usually have to do that with most knives that you get, but on this knife, you really have to pay attention to that, because if you cover that lock bar, you're not going to be able, now I can do it easy, to flip that at all. But the most amazing thing about this piece is the way that it closes. Look at that. That is drop shut smooth, guys. Drop shut smooth. I could do this all day long. Look at that. There's a video where the guy took a piece of paper and closed the knife. I'm going to do that right now just to prove that it actually is true. I'm going to use the $50 bill that I had. Let me just get that set here. So here it is, right? Check it out. That's a flimsy piece of paper. Look at, that's nuts. Guys, that is just absolutely insane. Can we do it if we unfold it? I gotta do that again, man. That's nuts. Okay, here it is unfolded. Absolutely crazy. Maybe not, but, still too flimsy, but... Oh, there you go. I don't own any other knives that do that, except for my John Arnold custom piece, which is not KBT like this, but IKBS. I would actually expect it to do that on IKBS. So, the price for this knife back in the day was $450. Today, you'll find it anywhere between $850 to upwards to about $1,200, guys. I'm not going to say what I paid for it, but I did pay between that price, right around that price. The gentleman that sold me this knife is responsible for the next 2 videos I'm going to do of the first 3 Holy Grail projects that I'm going to show you right now. These are the only 3, this is one of 3 high-end knives that Kershaw made. And the gentleman that sold me this knife and the others, whose name is Mike, he has absolutely been fantastic in accommodating my finances so I could bring you these knives, and I am very happy to have met him because he's just a spectacular gentleman and definitely a knife hound like the rest of us. And, he definitely wanted to sell it off. I don't want to get into that, but, he did want to sell his stuff, so I was more than happy to help him by having him deplete me of my funds. He's a wonderful guy, and I just want to say thanks. I also want to give a quick shout out to my friend Lucas, who has been my knife psychiatrist. He's the guy that I kind of gripe to whenever I get to the point where I want to buy a knife and I don't want to buy a knife. I need somebody to talk to. I talk to him, and he pretty much absolutely makes no difference. I buy the knife anyway. But he does kind of help me in, various ways. So I just want to thank my good buddy Lucas for having been there, helping me deal with my knife addiction. So he's just a great guy. So there you have it, guys. The Kershaw Tilt. Let me get into the pocket clip. It's got a titanium pocket clip. It's got 4 standoffs right there. Here's something cool too. I don't know if you guys can see this. it doesn't just say tilt on the pocket clip, right? Check it out. It's also inside the knife. I'm going to try and see if I can get the camera to show you this. Yeah, there it is. Check that out. If you look closely, if I hold it at the correct angle, you can see the words tilt written inside there. Absolutely amazing. They have that written in there. Or not written, but engraved in the knife. So if you take off the carbon fiber slab, you'll see that written right in there. If you can pick yourself up one of these, I definitely suggest you do. Forget about how big the knife is, just get it. It is just absolutely insane when you get a hold of this thing. I mean, we could do this all day long, non-stop. I mean, everybody that owns one of these knives will sit by the TV watching their favorite show, just doing that. I don't doubt it. This thing is just absolutely spectacular. Fantastic ergonomics. And like I said, the only negative thing I could say about it is that the handle is so freaking huge. Other than that, I can live with it because there's so many positives to owning this knife. It's ridiculous. And like I said, I've never seen a knife that looks like that. I mean, looks like a knife that could be made in, I don't know, 3028 or something. It looks like a futuristic piece, you know. But the and the black DLC coating even looks more futuristic. At least this one has a touch of you know, a touch of old school there with the stonewash look. Excuse me. So there you have it. The Kershaw Tilt 4001 SW Stonewash, and this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, signing off. I do hope you guys comment on this video. I'd love to open up the discussion on this knife. Please leave your comments. I'm not getting enough comments on my videos. Really hope I hear from you. However, I do have 115 subscribers, so I'm real happy about that. My channel hasn't been around that long. I think I've only been on for about 6 months. But you've seen my collection grow on this channel, and this is just another level of it growing. You know, so hats off to all my YouTube channel watchers. I really appreciate your support. I do hope to hear from you. And I also want to celebrate that my hands don't look as disgusting as they used to. I used to have them all cut up and bloody, and now they're kind of back to normal again, as you can see. So that's good. Anyhow, yeah. So here it is, Kershaw Tilt. This is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, signing off. Hoping you'll find your next piece of sharp art, particularly a tilt, in your collection if you can afford it. This is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, signing off. Have a good evening, and please leave your comments below regarding this piece, because I know you guys are going to have a ton of questions for me, and I'll be more than happy to answer them, and I will be right back with another video for you on a very, very special knife. Knife number 2 in my Holy Grail series. This is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, signing off. Talk to you later.